Was Nancy Pelosi the reason why Joe Biden dropped out of the race? This is a new article on the New York Post. I thought this was very interesting. Nancy Pelosi recently did an interview, and she was asked about this, if she was the one that led this pressure campaign to oust Joe Biden from the running to be the Democrat nominee. And the New York Post are talking about this. They say, watch Nancy Pelosi smile slyly as she denies leading mutiny that toppled Biden. And this is what she said. This is the quote. I didn't call one person. Wait, did you not call anybody? Not one person? Did you call many people? Seems like kind of, some wordplay there. But a smiling former House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, denied reports that she spearheaded the Democratic mutiny that culminated with President Biden dropping out of the race last month. So Nancy Pelosi, and I am suspicious that probably Barack Obama too, they both had a little bit to do with this. They took Joe Biden away from us, guys. They took Let's Go Brandon away from us. I will never forgive them. I was having so much fun clipping along, making fun of Biden and all of his gaffes and, tripping downstairs and his stutters and stammers and all the weird stuff that he would say. He would read stuff off the teleprompter that he wasn't supposed to. But they took all that away. Everything good they take away. These people are insufferable. But Pelosi in this interview, she says, no, I wasn't the leader of any pressure campaign. She told CBS News on this interview, she said, let me say these things. I didn't call one person. I did not call one person. I could always say to him, I never called anybody. And this was the interview, just a short clip of what happened during this interview on CBS with Nancy Pelosi. Listen.
There have been reports that it was Nancy Pelosi who orchestrated a coordinated effort to squeeze President Biden to drop out. Please tell us what you told President Biden to persuade him to step aside.
Well, I've never shared any conversations with the President of the United States publicly, no.
It's said that he's furious at you. Is he?
Well, he knows that I love him very much.
I understand that you don't want to own this, but it is so well reported that you were the leader of a pressure campaign.
No, I wasn't a leader of any pressure party. Well, let me say things that I didn't do. I didn't call one person. I did not call one person. I could always say to him, I never called anybody.
The way she's acting right here, she seems a little bit suspicious. Why do these people act so suspicious all the time? And also, what is going on with her speech? I never called one person. What? She needs to find a different doctor or somebody to give her different dentures. I don't know what gives her that speaking trait or whatever, where she sounds like she's got a mouthful of rocks or something like that. But acting very sketchy indeed. But this article goes on to say Pelosi's behind-the-scene machinations during the outpour of Democrats calling on Biden, who was 81, have been widely reported. She has long had a reputation for being a savvy and ruthless political operative. Yes, so she might look drunk on vodka all the time, but behind the scenes, guys, she is cutthroat. At one point, Pelosi firmly told Biden that he couldn't win the November 5th election when he suggested polls that indicated he could pull it off. She had him put his longtime advisor, Mike Donnellan, on the phone. Many observers also noted that key Pelosi allies such as Adam Schiff and Zoe Lofgren had joined the chorus of calls among sitting Democrats for Biden to throw in the towel. Given her standing as one of the longest-serving leaders of congressional Democrats, she was seen by some as giving her colleagues the green light to cast aspersions on Biden's fitness for a second term. Because, we've talked about this before many, many times, but it was very weird. Right after that debate, it was like night and day. Something happened. Something was put into motion. After that debate, all you saw for the weeks following all the way until Biden dropped out oddly on Twitter, didn't come out and do it publicly. He just had this random statement that he supposedly announced on Twitter. It had like a digital signature, but something changed at that moment. Right after the debate, the media went after Joe Biden like a pack of rabid dogs. It was wild to see. You sat back, you watched, and you enjoyed it because for just a small window of time, you got to see what the media is supposed to be. The media going after a Democrat, the media not just going after Donald Trump anymore, because usually that pack of rabid dogs is focused like a laser beam right on Donald Trump and his campaign. They will lie about him. They will take him out of context. They will do anything to hurt him. But for that small window of time, it was Biden as well. And it was mind-blowing to see. But of course, as soon as Kamala Harris became the Democrat nominee, what happened? Once again, they did another 180, and they are marching in lockstep, pushing out propaganda for the new Democrat nominee who they just installed in there. No votes whatsoever from their democracy, just the elites installing her in there. But during the slew of leaks, Pelosi's office refrained from denying reports about her meetings with Biden. In public, Pelosi initially defended Biden after his disastrous debate performance in June, which triggered the revolt against him. But then she went on television and seemed to suggest his continued candidacy was an open question. I remember she did an interview where she was asked directly about Biden dropping out. And she just said, well, Biden should make his own decision, something along those lines. So it looked like, at the time, I was like, maybe Pelosi's hedging her bet, because I don't know how big the faction, the pro-Biden faction is. It kind of seemed to be pretty small, because the Biden faction seemed to just be Biden's campaign, and that's about it. Everybody else either held their tongue. There was a couple that said that they were riding with Biden, but then there was this other faction that was just ripping the guy. I mean, mostly in the media, don't get me wrong. There were a few that came out and really said that he should step down. But there was a lot that you can tell they wanted to say stuff, kind of held their tongue. And it's like they most likely knew more than they were letting on. This is what she said on MSNBC's Morning Joe. She says, it's up to the president to decide if he's going to run. So, yeah, that's the interview that I saw on Morning Joe, where it seemed like she wasn't taking sides. But behind the scenes, these politicians, they have one thing that they tell the public, and then they do and say and feel a completely different thing in private. She went on to say, we're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short. I think overwhelming support of the caucus. It's not for me to say. I'm not the head of the caucus anymore, but he's beloved. He is respected, and people want him to make that decision, not me. At the time, when she was pressed about how Biden was committed to the race, Pelosi replied, whatever he decides, we'll go with. But there was also reports that Obama was threatening Biden with the 25th Amendment, saying, listen, Joe, old buddy, if you don't step aside, we're gonna leave the caucus and we're going to push you out using the 25th Amendment, because as crazy as the media was going against Biden at the time, there was no doubt, not even to the most leftist of person out there, that Biden was losing his cognitive abilities, and he was old, he was getting senile, he was getting kind of sad. But Biden had initially publicly decided to stay in the race, but numerous Democrats publicly stated that he still had to choose what to do, suggesting they were unhappy with his decision to keep running. Other top leaders, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, have also declined to divulge their conversations with Biden during the mutiny. Schumer had gone so far as to urge Biden to step aside. He did this publicly. But Pelosi stressed she has never shared any conversations with the president of the United States publicly. Biden is rumored to be furious with Pelosi over her purported role from behind the scenes during the Democratic revolt against him. And of course, she says he knows I love him very much. She said that during that interview. But what do you guys think? Do you think Nancy Pelosi, led this revolt against Joe Biden? It had to be somebody. The two on the top of my list, my suspect list, are Nancy Pelosi and Obama. Those two, they seem to have a lot of pull, a lot of sway in the Democrat Party. But I just don't think this should be acceptable by any means. Not that I thought Joe Biden was a viable candidate, but he won the primary. The voters, the democracy, they're supposed to pick their candidate. The candidate, they go against multiple other candidates, and the best one rises to the top. Well, Joe Biden won that race. He won the primary. 14 million votes he got from the democracy. The Democrat Party, the democracy, voted Joe Biden in as their nominee. And what happened? We had Democrat elite. Even Joe Biden complained about it. He complained about the elite coming after him. He did this in an interview as well. So we know it wasn't just his own decision. He was pressured. It was 100% a pressure campaign. But that's how the Democrats work, at least right now. That's how they work. They have no interest in democracy, but what they will do is they'll turn that around and they'll use that democracy to attack the other party, the Republicans, Donald Trump, who actually have a real democratic process to choose their nominee. It's insane how they invert reality. But what do you guys think? Do you think Nancy Pelosi is the one to blame for Joe Biden dropping out? Or do you think it's Barack Obama? Or do you think it's another shadowy figure somewhere? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.